The next section in this group is Consumer Credit Counseling, commonly called CCC or CCCSs. Consumer Credit Counseling Services have been around for almost as long as credit cards. CCCs were originally designed to provide financial counseling services directly to individuals by local companies. Typically, not-for-profit 501c corporation statuses was awarded to these counseling companies. The way CCC programs are supposed to work is for the counselor to receive a list of all your creditors, including their interest rates and minimum monthly payments. The counselor should then review your financial situation and contact each of your credit card companies and provide them with a repayment program offer and agreement. When the credit card companies sign off on the agreement, they typically require that the account be closed, with the notation on your credit report that it was put into a CCC program. This will definitely have a negative effect on your credit scores. Unfortunately, the credit card company usually will not agree to a repayment agreement if you are current in making your payments. So again, the CCCs may recommend that you become 90 days delinquent. This will also have a negative impact on your credit report. Most banks and companies offering credit will treat someone in a CC program the same as if they were in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, making it difficult to purchase an automobile or obtain a loan while you are in a CCC program. The CCC goal is to design a repayment plan that will be automatically drafted from your bank account each month and forward to each of your creditors. This will typically pay off your credit card companies in 5 to 7 years. For this service, the CCC receives a monthly fee for the time that you are in the program. This fee varies significantly from as low as $19 a month to $89 per month. Be cautious when selecting a CCC company. Check out their references, their Better Business Bureau report, and internet comments. Internal statistics from the CCC industry show that as many as 78% of clients drop out of their CCC program in the first 2 years. This happens for many reasons, but the most common is the client just can't afford the monthly payment they agreed to when they started the program. One of the other reasons is that people are just not dedicated to this type of a program. It is the opinion of the creator of this site that debt negotiation, debt settlement, debt arbitration, and CCCs are usually best for people that have had a major change in income and are just over their head with their current debt payment and current income, and don't have savings or retirement in cash assets. This type of service is usually only for unsecured debts. There are do-it-yourself debt negotiation manuals that you can find on the web. However, it is my opinion that it's better to use a professional in a matter like this. Let's move into the next section, bankruptcy. There are 4 main types: Chapter 7, Chapter 11, Chapter 12, and Chapter 13. Although certain individuals may file a Chapter 11, it is primarily for businesses. Chapter 12 is for family farmers only. So for the majority of individuals, your only options are between Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. All forms of bankruptcy will damage your credit and can stay on your credit reports for up to 10 years. Let's quickly review how they work and what makes them different. Chapter 7. This is often called a personal bankruptcy or a liquidation bankruptcy, and is the most commonly used form of bankruptcy. Both individuals and businesses may utilize this form of bankruptcy. Essentially, the debtor turns over all non-exempt property to the bankruptcy trustee, who then liquidates it into cash, which is then distributed to the creditors. Each state has specific guidelines for what is exempt property and non-exempt property. It typically takes about 4 months for a bankruptcy to be discharged or completed. In cases where the debtor has no real assets to lose, Chapter 7 will give that person a relatively quick fresh start. One of the main purposes of bankruptcy law is to give a person who is hopelessly burdened with debt a fresh start by wiping out all of his or her debts. Please remember that while Chapter 7 allows you to wipe out all of your debts, there are some issues and exemptions. If you have a secured debt like a house or an automobile, you'll have to either reaffirm that you will continue paying these debts, or you will have to give them up. In some cases where you have a significant amount of equity in real estate, you may be forced by the bankruptcy court to liquidate the property. This typically occurs when you have more than 20% equity in the property. Once debt is wiped out by a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, you have no obligation to pay it back. You may not eliminate student loans or tax debt using a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Now, we do not advocate one way or another for this type of debt elimination. You should always consult an attorney if you are considering this. Please remember the long-term effect of bankruptcy and check back soon for our in-depth look at bankruptcies. Okay, now into Chapter 13. This is commonly called the reorganization bankruptcy. Chapter 13 bankruptcy is usually filed by individuals who want to keep property they would lose in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. In Chapter 13, your debt repayments are restructured to pay them back over a period of 3 to 5 years. This type of bankruptcy appeals to individuals who have non-exempt property, such as real estate or assets they want to keep. It is also only an option for individuals who have predictable income and whose income is sufficient to pay their reasonable expenses. In a Chapter 13, the court will approve a repayment plan and appoint a trustee who will supervise all the payments to your creditors. The payment terms to your creditors are reduced and in line with your income. Chapter 13 always requires representation by an attorney and is typically more expensive than a Chapter 7. The next section, mortgage loan modification. Now, thousands of mortgage loan modification companies have popped up across the United States immediately after the financial meltdown that swept the country in late 2007, early 2008. These modification companies made all kinds of promises to help people keep their homes and provide a quick restructuring of the terms of their mortgage loans. They quickly learned it is not a simple process to get a mortgage loan modification completed. With millions of homes under the threat of foreclosure throughout the United States, mortgage lenders have been completely overwhelmed. The typical mortgage company employee responsible for assisting customers with loan modifications may have as many as 2,000 files awaiting their attention. Now, the government has passed programs to encourage mortgage lenders to help accelerate the mortgage modification process, but to no avail. Now, the reality is that it's difficult to fulfill clients' expectations combined with state and federal regulations. Regarding fees and compensation, many of these companies have already gone out of business. The current results for completing mortgage loan modifications are not promising. Nearly 50% of the people who receive loan modifications are already delinquent or in foreclosure. This statistic makes it even less desirable for lenders to put in the time and expense to complete a loan modification. Please note that this is not impossible. Now, I know of one case where it took the client over 2 years to get a loan modification done, and finally after 2 years the modification was put in place. But please note, like a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, you will not be granted a loan modification if you do not have a stable income. This program is like CCC for mortgages. However, the fact of the matter is, it's hard to do, and it takes time and will hurt your credit, as most lenders will not negotiate the terms unless you are delinquent. And as far as credit reporting goes, if you have to be delinquent on unsecured and not a mortgage. Most of the services in this section charge a percentage of savings. Some do have upfront fees and range from $500 to $5,000 and even more.